Welcome to Real Talk Marketing, the podcast where Northern Ontario's sharpest marketing minds skip the fluff and get straight to what actually works. We're three marketers in a coffee shop, figuratively speaking, talking strategy, story, and how to show up online in a way that builds trust and gets results. Today's episode is all about clarity. With so many tools, trends, and tactics flying around, we're asking, what should local business leaders actually be doing in 2025 to stay relevant and grow? I'm Thomas Brown from BuzzMasters, and I help brands turn video into a system, not just a stunt. With me today are two guys who each bring serious insights to the table. Paul Myers, founder of PM Consulting, the digital systems guy who helps businesses stop winging it and start winning with strategy. And Scott Murphy, the guy who makes digital marketing feel human again, especially for small businesses that just want to stop guessing and start growing. So grab your coffee. We're serving up real talk right now. All right. Well, good morning, gentlemen. How are you this morning?
Good.
Good.
All right, so we're here to talk strategy, hopefully give some insights to some local businesses who are trying to grow and gain more traction with their marketing and branding. So, with that being said, one of the conversations that comes up for me often is the measurability of the work we do. And so the conversation tends to circle back to a customer relationship management software of some sort, because without it, we're pretty much flying blind. Maybe Paul can expand on that.
Yeah, agreed. You need to own and control the data, and owning and controlling the data starts with any CRM. Don't care which one, but you've got to get those kind of four pieces of content: first name, last name, email, and phone. And then you can decide how you're going to market to them down the road. And it's vitally important to have that type of system in place for any business, because you pay for it once to capture that information. Maybe you're doing a free lead magnet, so you're giving them some sort of a high value content offer to capture their information. But once you have it, you can do what you want with it. Scott, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think owning your own client list is a great piece of advice. A lot of people rely on, using social media, they rely on word of mouth, or they rely on just people contacting them, and then they have that brief interaction, and then it's kind of like, okay, now they're going on to the next one. But if you can own your own lead list, own your own client list, you don't have as much risk if social media falls apart for you, or you get busy, or you have to change business. You have this really good group of clients who are already vetted leads. They've already validated that they're willing to work with you. And I think it's essential, like in this day and age, like in a market that's either small or large, you've got to have access to people who are willing to work with you and not have to constantly be finding new customers all the time.
Love it. Yeah, it makes so much sense. And with that email list, you can now drip on them through automations. Every CRM will have an automation where you can do an email or SMS automation. And now you can build what everybody normally refers to as know me, like me, trust me with that audience. So yeah, exactly. Thomas, what about you? Where do you see using that for the even the video side?
Yeah, I think the big shift we're seeing in video is personalization, really targeting people and speaking to them directly, to their needs directly, and even by name in a lot of cases. We're seeing the emergence of more sales-oriented video where you're attaching videos to emails or text messages to really talk directly to the client, get that FaceTime, build the rapport, and reinforce the relationship. There's nothing like a face-to-face conversation, and so that's why I'm always pushing video. I think that if you're looking to build a stronger relationship, you've got to put your face on it and you've got to speak directly to the person on the other side of the camera. So to North Bay, she did a talk for the Business Center at International Women's Day, I guess 2 years ago or 3 years ago now. And one of the lines I took away from that she kept saying is like, don't build your castle on rented land. And I think that kind of goes back to what Scott was saying. And,
Yeah.
Facebook could disappear tomorrow. So you could have 100 million likes on Facebook and that's all fine and good, bragging rights for you. But if Facebook decides, they don't want to comply with regulation and they shut down in Canada, like they've done to news journalism,
Mhm.
you lose your whole audience. So getting them onto an email list, getting them into your CRM is absolutely essential. You need to own your data. I just want to really hammer that home. That is a critical point of marketing.
And then I think the next step is, how do you get attention and eyeballs on your business? And that's where I think, Thomas, you can probably talk quite a bit about, that video aspect, because everybody loves a video. People will stop their scroll and watch it, especially if you have people in it. Tell us a little bit about how you guys implement that with businesses you work with.
Yeah, I think the trick, like we live in the attention economy, as they say, right? Or we're all vying for everybody's attention. And what unfortunately is the outcome of that is we live in a very information noisy environment.
Mm.
So cutting through that noise is the trick nowadays. You can put out all the video you want until you're blue in the face. But if you're not structuring that content strategically, you're not putting a good hook up front or putting catchy visuals in the first few frames, you're not going to pull people in. They're not going to even have an opportunity to get engaged with the content you're putting out. So there's some really simple tactics that we kind of employ depending where the video is going. Obviously, there's expectations on different platforms, so we need to be cognizant of that and make sure that we're meeting the audience where they're at. Um, but yeah, cutting through that noise is first and foremost. And the other point I wanted to make on that is video is not just an advertising thing. It's great for advertising, but it's also great for countless other things. Some of the areas that we see it really impactful is recruitment and training on the HR side of things. As I mentioned earlier, the sales videos, like these aren't necessarily marketing videos per se, but they're still a video tactic that you're using in your business to reinforce the relationship. And so I think people need to stop thinking about video as that first touch point necessarily, and more what are people going to find when they actually land on your website or start doing that consideration process of the buyer's journey. And I think that's where you can really have a strong impact with your video presence.
Thomas, can you walk us through how you guide clients to align their video production with the kind of broader marketing goals? Because as you said, like it's not just okay to be throwing out video without a structured plan behind it and having content that resonates with an audience. How do you guide clients who might not have any idea about, what makes a good video work?
That's a tricky question. Video is not always the first answer I put forward, even though it's the thing I sell. Often I talk about the groundwork. We talked about the CRM out of the gate here today, and that's often one of the first topics of conversation I have with clients. So it
Yes.
kind of holds everything together. Like without a website, without that digital storefront or that shingle, as they used to call it, there's nowhere for people to go. You have no owned kind of platform to create that conversion machine that you need as a business in 2025 and beyond. Um, so yeah, video is not the first solution we should be talking about when it comes to marketing goals. Depending on what the marketing goal is or goals are for the business for the year, there's likely a spot I can find where video fits. I'm very cautious about the ethics of my recommendations, though. Like, even though I like making money, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, I believe in the long-term play, and so doing the right thing for the client up front, I think, is going to bring clients back to me and make them want to work with me over the longer term.
I appreciate the transparency. I think that's good because a lot of people, if you're a small business owner, you're wearing so many hats. Maybe you've recorded a video on your phone, maybe you've hired someone to make your video before, but it's great to have someone who's willing to provide you what is the goal right now and what sort of video might work. I think you're asking great questions there where you're not just going to, oh yeah, take a fee, here's a piece of video. It's like, no, how's this video going to fit with your brand strategy? Because BuzzMasters is becoming more of a brand partnership in terms of how a business markets themselves through media, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think, a big shift that we're new entrepreneurs too. This has been a learning journey for us. So like we don't purport to be know-it-alls or know everything out of the gate. Neither of us worked in a marketing environment before this. Like I come from the software engineering world. My business partner Ryan comes from the journalism communications world. So combined, the marketing technology collaboration integration that we have on the back end, we can bring a lot of insights and a lot of value for our clients. That being said, we've been doing this kind of like project by project model where it's okay, you need a case study video. Let's set it up. Let's get it done. That's great. See you in 3 years.
Okay, I'm going to push back on you two marketing guys. So you guys are so good. It's awesome. I'm glad to be in a room with you guys. But you talk about noise and you talk about business owners, and I talk about taking perfect action. And I would rather have something in the market than nothing. So I get it where you want to strategize so that piece of content resonates and it's not noise. But for a lot of these business owners, they are afraid just to get behind the camera and do a selfie. Look, we got to just do it. Just do something and get it posted and watch what happens to your socials. Because people will engage in it. They'll like it, comment, share it, and over time you're going to get better and better and better at it. So I love the conversation about nailing the strategy. So you have the hook at the beginning and you know what you're doing and you got to capture it. But I also like to have content in the marketplace doing something rather than they overanalyze and then nothing gets done. They don't post anything, and something is better than nothing. So just a little bit of a pushback to you
No, you're
guys that
absolutely right. You're
strategize.
absolutely right, Paul. Some content is better than no content. You've got to be putting out the beats into the universe before anybody can
Yeah,
pick
yeah,
up the signal, right? So,
yeah.
I really believe in the progressive development or the iterative approach. So, obviously, it's nice to come out of the gate with something really polished and strategic, and there are clients that are going to get that kind of an experience, and because that's what they need and want. But there's some clients who, like I was just talking about our coaching package, that's perfect for these types of clients that you're describing that just want to get stuff out there. They don't want to spend too much time on the analysis and strategy. And they want an expert to come in and say, that's good or that's bad for these reasons. And here, try again with these notes.
I think we can all, well, pretty much we can all attest to this, that, I work with a lot of customers that I'm just trying to convince them to answer their phone when it rings. Like get to it right away, because business moves at a very fast rate and people don't want to wait anymore. We've referred to it in the past as speed to lead. Speed always wins. So make sure you call your customer back within 5 minutes. If you can't answer your phone, failing that, get AI to do it for you, and let AI kind of run with that. So sorry, I went from video all the way over to AI, but that's the kind of guy I am.
Like, I think it's no secret out of us three that you're the social media star and you are the most active on social media. And you do create a lot of great video content that's very focused towards what you do and how you do it really well. Do you have any general tips for the audience when it comes to creating organic, short form video content that they can produce consistently? That maybe it's just about, like you said, being more consistent on socials or even in other media forms as opposed to having nothing out there? Do you have any strategies, or this is how you structure one of these short form pieces?
Yeah, I think it's always about you already have the tools in place. You have your phone. That's all you need to take video. And when you're doing that, I think what a lot of people have forgotten on social media is the social part of it. We don't go to social media to see your ad. We go to social media to see that video of you and your employees having lunch, and people stop the scroll because they want to know who that is in the video. So we just dumb it down, get down to basics. I'm always talking to people about sharing the internal stuff, the employee
Right.
engagement, the customer stuff, the interactions. People want genuineness and authenticity. Where right now, because of AI, I could be a bot right now. People don't want that. They want AI to do their thing, but they also want genuineness. So that's where I sort of educate them on, look, dude, you're doing a toilet repair. Do a video, 30 seconds. Show them the where you start, where you end, and post that stuff. You will get a lot of traction from it. So that's my strategy. It just basically you're doing it as a documenting of your day. As opposed to creating content, you're documenting your day.
Mhm.
And if you can do that, I think you can get a lot of eyeballs and attention and therefore sales from your content.
Yeah, I think a lot of small businesses forget the real value of social media is you're not just blasting messages out. It's a two-way conversation. We talk
Right.
about outbound engagement also. So like, how are you getting out into your customers' world? Not only hitting them with messaging from your page necessarily, but commenting on their stuff and sharing their stuff and being that kind of social media partner that's going to hopefully create some sense of reciprocation or maybe get them to be more engaged with your content, be more of an advocate for your brand. I love the inside view thing. I think that serves so many different fronts, especially on a local business level. People want to buy, they want to work with people who have similar values to them. They want to see that they're employing their people in a way that is ethical and enjoyable and all positivity. So being able to show
Yeah.
those things, show that your staff are happy and you're creating good jobs in the community. Maybe you're doing charitable work in the community. Like these are all great things to show. And they don't just help with client acquisition; they also help with recruitment because you're
Yeah.
showing off brand culture in the background.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a lot of guys doing social very well. A guy up in Sault Ste. Marie, he has got a snow plowing business. I forget his name, Italian fella. He's crushing it up there. Like his socials, he's taking videos of the staff, bringing in pizzas, showing the workers doing the actual plowing, going up to his customers and thanking them for their business in the middle of winter. And just there's so much to do, right? 20 years ago, we couldn't afford radio, paper, TV.
yeah.
Now they're nearly obsolete, and you can do everything on your phone for free on all these social platforms. And again, forget about maybe 1 out of 5 posts should be a sales post. The other 4 posts should be just you and your staff, you and your customers, that sort of thing. That's what people are looking for. To Thomas's point, that inside scoop, that inside story, how they do things. Like
Mhm.
now, if you notice, if you're on TikTok and you're watching a video of someone saying something, it's split screen. One side has got some cool, thing that you can just watch. Well, that's there to keep your attention, right? While this guy goes through his message. So that tells me that people like to see people building stuff, people doing stuff. Like,
Without diving headlong into a political discussion, I see this with one of the major political candidates in the Canadian election right now, Jagmeet Singh. We've seen him with his turban on all the time, basically up to now, and now he's doing these videos where he's tying his hair up and putting his turban on while he talks
right,
about his platform. It's
right.
about occupying the mind so the message can get through, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I love that.
and he's putting his face on it. That's the key.
Yeah.
I really believe that being present in your videos and showing who you are and who your people are, like you're saying, Paul, that inside view is super critical. People are
Yeah.
burnt out from the AI thing already, and it's not getting better tomorrow.
No, no. And that's
Yeah,
where the authenticity play comes in big time, right? And I even think if you're going to use AI, then say it. Say it in your video. Hey, I'm Paul's AI agent. Hey, I'm just here to like let people know, right?
Yeah.
Because give it 6 more months, it's going to be like lights out, right? Like every week, it's just getting better and better and better with all these new technologies, and like it's crazy. But you're right, people are getting tired of hearing it. Part of our play when we developed the CRM was to call it human touch CRM, because I knew we were going to come to this and I wanted to make sure that people understood that you still need a human behind this. Someone's
Yeah.
still got to be pushing some buttons and monitoring this stuff. And, so
Thomas, like you just said, putting yourself and your face into the social media content is so essential. And I completely agree. Like, it's not really effective to just constantly be posting things that are, really purposeful, maybe educational, maybe strategic, maybe even present really well, but they don't create that authenticity. And I think that's a key thing that a lot of businesses aren't really able to comprehend, is that they want to be constantly promoting and they don't even want to put themselves in the content. And I think if you're a service-based professional, like if you're a contractor, if you're a marketing person, if you're a plumber or a whatever, you are the product.
Mhm.
Okay. And I can't stress that enough with some of my clients and people I've worked with, where they think they do a product, or they think, oh, I do this service, like this is the service, but no one's buying the service. They're buying you who does the service. So if you can make people know you, like you, trust you, as Paul said, and if you can be more comfortable putting yourself out there, I think you will get much better results on social media, even if the content isn't as professional as it could be. And that doesn't mean that you can't have professional content as well, because I think there's a really good mix where you can have both organic, kind of authentic content that's literally, oh, I'm just meeting a client, here's 5 things we just worked out from the strategy meeting that maybe you can resonate with as a small business owner, versus, here's what business A does really well. If you need service 1, 2, 3, and you're tired of dealing with pain point 1, here's the call to action by our program, hit up the website, book an appointment, etc. I think both pieces of content can live in the same world, and ultimately that's what creates value. But with your social media stuff, Paul, I think you do a great job, and I want to know, like, and even the audience might want to know, how much time do you allocate towards marketing yourself as a professional? Because as we know, these small business owners, right, they're kind of time poor, they're wearing so many hats. They might not even have time to create a graphic or even know how. So how do you budget your time towards, doing the marketing activities for Paul Myers Consulting versus doing the actual production services of Paul Myers Consulting?
Yeah. A good point. It doesn't take long when you use systems and automation, so systems and processes. So any CRM should be able to post to any of your socials at the same time. So you can create one post and post to 6 or 7 socials if it makes sense to post to those socials, because on different socials, different audiences, different needs. I don't spend a lot of time doing it. I do more creating the content like this video. We'll use this video chopped up into different segments so that we can use as shorts on different platforms. So document your day, and then you can use that content inside of your automations or inside of a CRM to actually push it out to get attention and eyeballs. Because without attention and eyeballs, I'm not quite sure how you're going to grow your business.
Oh, a huge impact.
Right.
That's what I can say. So having an online presence in 2025, and that's when we're recording this podcast, it's going to be relevant today. It's going to be relevant in 2030, 2050. It's not going away, right? So the sooner you realize you need to invest in your online presence to represent your business, it's going to work out better for you and have a better impact. Now, in terms of having an online presence, yes, there's so many things we can do. We can go on every social, we can have websites, we can have Google business profiles. All these things are great. I think do as many as you can that are the most relevant to your target audience. So if your target audience doesn't use TikTok, you're dealing with maybe 70-year-old people who need foot care or something, and they don't have a TikTok account, then it doesn't make sense for you to be investing in TikTok so much. Maybe you want to be investing in emails, phone calls. Maybe you want to be investing in follow-ups with clients to, in case they forgot about an appointment. Having a CRM is essential for that. Also, ensuring that all these platforms align. And that's a common mistake I've seen where someone will have a different business name or a different logo on platform A, and then their website has a whole different color structure, a whole different branding. And it's like, is this the same business? And the moment you do that, you're creating an inauthenticity block that kind of, it works against you, and it doesn't actually help because people won't think you're the same business. Again, Paul knows all about this, but even with SEO, like name, address, phone number, and everything, making sure you have the exact same business name online, the exact same contact number, so vital. And people often will just create one platform or get it going like a website, then never touch it again. And meanwhile, 5 years later, oh, we actually don't even have that product anymore, or that phone number doesn't work. We changed our phone number like 5 years ago, and now it's like just a dead kind of thing for your business online. So ensuring all that's aligned, all that's on the same page is essential. And thinking about it as well, traditionally, when we had a touch point with an audience, it might have been as, a human-to-human interaction down the street, or a family event, or, a friend group. We got a referral that way. A lot of the first times people are interacting with your business in this day and age is online or through social media. Like they've often already found out about you before you found out about them as a business owner.
Yeah.
So ensuring you have your best foot forward there. So clear messaging, knowing your value proposition, knowing, okay, this is my strengths. I want to talk about my strengths. So I'm talking about my strengths everywhere, and really having it simple for customers to know you, like, contact you, make it easier for them. If they wanted to buy your product, make it easier for them. How can we make it as easy as possible to convert this online traffic to a new customer? That's what I think is really important about optimizing your online presence. And I think that's a common thing where I see people put up these barriers, sometimes not on purpose, but they need to know that there is a barrier there from the customer perspective.
What's your advice for, how do I say this, for businesses? Like, what do they get wrong when it comes to visual storytelling?
Oh, that's a good question. What do they get wrong? I
Yeah.
think a lot, storytelling is structured communication, I guess, would be the place I would start. I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with like the monomyth. We talk about the hero's journey. Um, a lot of the stories that we know and love, whether it be Star Wars or mythology from ancient Greece, they follow a very similar kind of structure. And
Mm,
so when we get into storytelling, it's not just your character development or your plot development, but it's also how it's conveyed, like visually and technically. So something I see is like visuals that don't associate often with the messaging that's being like delivered. So
yeah.
that's always kind of like it breaks the attention a little bit, where you're pulling people out because they're trying to process what you're saying rather than just being engaged in the message. So similar to what Scott was just talking about removing barriers, when it comes to content structuring, like we want to remove barriers there too. We don't want
Mm,
people to have to think too hard. We just want them to enjoy the content, hopefully experience some sort of emotion because we anchor our memories on emotions.
mhm.
Um, and I think that's the key to the storytelling. Like you can turn your camera on and follow yourself around, and unbeknownst to you or whoever's with you, you've produced a story, and it does follow some of these structures that we know of in the storytelling world. But there's little tweaks you can do that can really amp it up and improve the engagement and have your story land in a more impactful way. Like we're getting into the branding world because what we're doing is conveying an experience as brands. We're not, just hammering people with messaging. You look at kind of the shift that's happened since COVID. We've got restaurants have really struggled, retailers are really struggling. Those are both business types that are traditionally into conveying an experience. And I think because we live in this like overstimulated media environment, people have like really high expectations, whether they realize it or not. They deal with a business and they need to be engaged in the story of the business. They need to have some sort of branded experience. But a lot of businesses aren't focused on delivering that branded experience. And so when the wires are
Oh,
crossed or, the font
100%. 100% agree.
or the colors don't align or something. I mean, we're coming back to the cognitive load or the barriers again, where it's we don't want to create barriers to people understanding that we are the brand that we say we are, and also here's the message we're trying to deliver, and here's the action we're trying to get you to take. I often talk to, well, not often. Sometimes I have this conversation with prospects and clients where it's like, what would you spend on a location? Like your website is, in a lot of senses, your location nowadays. And if you look at the traditional way of doing business, where we had a storefront with a door and a sign, like that's a marketing initiative in my mind. You're putting up your shingle to let people know you
Mhm.
exist and hopefully drawing in market share to service. And so you should be reallocating some of those costs if you don't have a location towards your online marketing. Online marketing is not cheap. I don't think anybody here is
Right.
going to say that it's cheap, right? It's an investment. And
Yeah.
if it's not delivering a return, then you need to reevaluate that investment or how you're going about it to see what is the best way to get it to deliver a return to you. But giving up entirely, which I see a lot of businesses do, oh, I tried it, didn't work. It's like, okay, well, it didn't work because something wasn't right. We need to just turn the knobs a little bit
Yeah.
and figure it out. We've got all sorts of insights available to us on digital, which is a whole other conversation. Digital versus traditional. You can drive by a billboard or you can have 1,000 people drive by a billboard. You don't know who actually looked at it, who actually read it, who actually internalized the message, and who actually took action on that message. But when you
Right
get
on.
into digital, you have all those insights. So
Yeah.
not only can you gauge the effectiveness of your marketing, but you can also optimize your efforts going forward. So like there is a place for traditional, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be the guy that's saying no traditional marketing, but
Yeah.
there's a much more urgent need for digital. So if you're only investing in traditional initiatives, take some of that budget and reallocate it to digital. Scott or Paul will get you started. And when you're ready for a video, I'm right here waiting for you.
I've got we designed a kind of like a 50-page marketing guide for 2025 specifically for contractors. So if they hit contractor success system.com, they can get the free download from there. So I think they'll find that very beneficial.
Awesome. We'll make sure that's in whatever description wherever this gets posted so people can get to it easily. Remove the barrier.
For sure. For sure.
I wanted to have a content offer here today, but I spent my whole week just trying to get my technology figured out and distracted by other things in my business. So
That's
Hopefully, if
okay.
there's a demand for us to do another one of these, I'll have a good content offer for everybody by then. But in the meantime, if you're looking for video marketing insights, our blog is full of them. I try to keep up with developments happening in the marketplace so that our clients and prospective clients are informed on how they should shift their approach to their marketing based on, changes with Facebook.
Awesome.
That's awesome. For me, my content offer, I have a digital marketing plan that people can download. It's on my website. But I think the most value I can offer someone right now is just through that initial meeting where we identify what are your goals right now? What's the thing that's keeping you up at night? Maybe you do have online presence platforms that are working for you. Maybe you don't. Maybe you've got even issues with your technology or you're trying to create more efficient systems. All these things are really important. I think a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs, because we're risk taking, more ambitious than normal, excitable, I think we focus a lot on marketing. And that's great. Marketing's fun. Marketing is kind of the best part, I think, about being a business owner because you can craft your own message and control everything. But I think that, like Thomas mentioned earlier, if there's a mismatch between the customer's experience and the marketing, where the marketing presents a brand with certain values, creates a certain expectation in the customer's mind, because that's where the brand lives, in the customer's mind, and then their actual in-store experience or their customer service experience or the sales experience is not the same. That's you can market till the cows come home, but you're not going to get repeat business if then the product doesn't stand up for itself, right? So I love to just have a conversation with people. You can book a 15-minute call on my website or on social media, Scott Murphy DTS, anywhere online, or even just type in Scott Murphy in Google. And I book 15-minute calls. We can have a phone call and learn about your business that way. And I think that's the best step forward, because even if we don't, work together, at least you'll find some value. You'll have some way to go forward versus having no idea and being in the dark and kind of just treading water, right? Which is what I think a lot of people, back to Thomas's point, are doing. They kind of give up and they're just like, oh, I ran a Facebook ad, didn't work. It's like, okay, I got a website, it doesn't work. Okay, does the website even load? Like, have you been on it on a mobile device?
Yeah.
Like, is there actual barriers versus you just thinking something doesn't work? But yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
if the foundation's not in place when you're running ads, you're shooting yourself in the foot out of the gate. You're just burning money.
Got to get your digital plumbing right for
Yeah,
sure. 100%. That's got to be hooked up and firing on all cylinders. Guys, this
awesome.
has been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing this. Hopefully, somebody gets some value out of this. And if anybody's got specific questions or things that they want us to talk about, comment wherever you find this. We'll find it. We'll make sure we include it in the next conversation. If you're looking for BuzzMasters, just search BuzzMasters. You'll find us. We're everywhere. If you're looking for me, I go by the Real TB, the Real T, just the letter, and B like a bumblebee.
That's awesome. Paul Myers, PM Consulting. Just again, like Scott said, just Google it.
Thanks, guys. This was fun.
Thanks, Scotty.